What's going on, everybody? Alongside TJ Calkins, Jay Sannon here for ATS, getting you ready for another UFC Fight Night card. And TJ, we are going to break this down. We're going to start with the prelims for this card here, taking place on December 4th. And we will start with Alex Morono taking on Mickey Gall. Morono, a minus 225 favorite. He has won 2 straight fights. Do you think he makes it a third here?
Yeah, I do. Alex Morono, he's kind of unsexy, that he's no one's favorite fighter, don't get me wrong here, but he has a very complete skill set. He's incredibly well coached. He's got experience. He's a sound striker. He does have enough pop in his hands, and he's going to be the superior striker against Gall. We've seen Gall make some improvements in the striking, but unless he's leveled up about 6 times since 2 fights ago, I just don't see him having any success against Morono. Just Morono's so much tighter, and he's going to have a better game plan. Now, Gall's relied on his grappling throughout his MMA career, and his striking is sort of catching up with it. Morono's he's a very good BJJ black belt. We don't see him grapple in the octagon often, but he does use that skill set defensively, and it's going to ultimately neutralize Mickey Gall. And I think Morono cruises to a pretty easy win here. We kind of need that when we're laying 230, but I don't mind doing that.
TJ, next up, let's move to the women's side. Cheyanne Vlismas, a minus 190 favorite, fresh off a 1-minute knockout victory back in July. She takes on Mallory Martin here, and I want to know where you think that one lands.
Yeah, Cheyanne Vlismas, formerly Cheyenne Bays. I don't know what happened there with the name, but if you're seeing odds on Cheyenne Bays, it's the same girl. So go ahead and bet on her. So we have Mallory Martin, who I don't believe has any real future in the UFC. She did notch a win against Hannah Cifers, who I'm pretty certain has since been cut. Cifers is essentially a novice level grappler in comparison to other UFC fighters, and that's the type of fighter Mallory Martin needs to find wins in her fights. So she's going to need takedowns, but I don't think she's going to have much success in the wrestling. She might land a takedown or two, but I don't see her getting that necessary control time that she's going to need in this fight. Bays or Vlismas / Bays is just a superior striker, and that's where that's where the fight is going to be decided. We're just going to see Vlismas ultimately tee off, and once she stuffs a takedown or two, I think the confidence just soars and she just starts laying into her. So this will be our moonshot. Of the 9 plays, this is the highest return. We're going to take Vlismas plus 325 inside the distance.
Very nice, TJ. Next up, Jake Matthews taking on Jeremiah Wells. Matthews, a minus 180 favorite. He had a 3-fight win streak snapped in March. Do you think he gets back on his winning ways here?
No, I don't. And Matthews, he does have a long UFC tenure. He's 7 years in, 15 fights. He's won 10 of them. And you look a little bit deeper. He's only fought, I believe, 4 or 5 guys still on the UFC roster, only beat 1, and that was the Leech. You look at the other guys, he's lost to every single one and was finished by every single one. Now, we don't have that sample size with Wells, so we can't just say apples to apples, but I do think Wells is going to win multiple UFC fights. I think he's got something of a bright future. He's not the greatest prospect we've ever seen, but he did not Warley Alves in his debut. So what we're going to see is Matthews, just who I think is declining, and he has a rounded skill set, but there's just nothing exciting there. He's a low volume fighter, and I feel like he's just always slower and slower. So Wells is much more explosive, and he's going to put some bursts and combinations on Matthews. And even if he doesn't find a finish, I think these are going to be the most significant strikes. And ultimately, I think those are going to win rounds. So even if there is no finish, I like Wells as an underdog here, plus 160. 160 or 150? 160. Plus 160 is a good price there.
And TJ, your final take on the prelims of this fight night card. Dusko Todorovic taking on Maki Pitolo. And Patolo, he's coming off of losses in his last 3 fights. Do you think this is the one where he turns it around? Or do you think, again, another losing streak developing here?
So if you followed me, I mean, if you know some fighters that I have leans on, I have bet against Maki Pitolo in all 5 of his UFC fights. Okay, I've gone 4-1 on those bets, and you would just assume I'm going to bet against Maki Pitolo. When I saw the matchup, I said, no, this is going to break the streak. I'm not going to bet against Patolo this time. I'm actually taking a step further, going to bet on Maki Pitolo. So I this is a matchup of two fighters whose skill sets I essentially loathe. Todorowicz is just extremely hittable, especially when combinations get strung together. And Patolo will do that. He'll press forward continuously. He'll start working the body. And when those hands drop even more from Todorowicz, the chin's going to be wide open. And I don't know if Patolo finds a knockout, but I think he's going to absolutely run away with the striking volume. And Todorovic often needs to get his wrestling going. And Patolo, I think, is a better wrestler, especially the way he's training. Uh, I think he, for an underdog, has all the paths to victory covered here. So I, I may be missing something here, but plus 150 on Patolo is a value, and I'm going to take it.